It was the beginning of a beautiful day in Shire on September 22, 3018 of the Third Age. The Shire had seldom seen so fair a summer or so rich an autumn. The trees were laden with apples, honey was dripping in the combs, and the corn was tall and full. This beautiful day also happened to be Mr. Frodo Baggins's 50th birthday. For 50 years, the Bagginses had given very lively birthday parties at Bag End for Frodo Baggins, but this time Frodo had to give his farewell feast instead. It was his last day at Bag End, and the feast was in fact quite small, just a dinner for himself and his 4 close friends. Before telling you why Frodo Baggins had to leave his home on that day, however, it is worthwhile to take some time to learn about the hobbits. Hobbits are an unobtrusive but very ancient people, more numerous formerly than they are today, for they love peace and quiet and good tilled earth. For they are a little people, smaller than dwarves, less stout and stocky, that is, even when they are not actually much shorter. Their height is variable, ranging between 2 and 4 feet of our measure. Before the crossing of the mountains, the hobbits had already become divided into 3 somewhat different breeds. In the westlands of Eriador, between the Misty Mountains and the Mountains of Lune, the hobbits found both men and elves. Indeed, a remnant still dwelt there of the Dunedain, the kings of men that came over the sea out of Westerness, but they were dwindling fast and the lands of their north kingdom were falling far and wide into waste. There was room and to spare for incomers, and ere long the hobbits began to settle in ordered communities. For it was in the 1601st year of the Third Age that the Fellowhide brothers, Marcho and Blanco, set out from Bree, and having obtained permission from the High King, Argileb II, at Fornost, they crossed the brown river Baranduin with a great following of hobbits. They passed over the Bridge of Stonebows, that had been built in the days of the power of the North Kingdom, and they took all the land beyond to dwell in, between the river and the far downs. All that was demanded of them was that they should keep the great bridge in repair, and all other bridges and roads, speed the king's messengers, and acknowledge his lordship. Thus began the Shire reckoning, for the year of the crossing of the Brandywine became year 1 of the Shire, and all later dates were reckoned from it. At once the western hobbits fell in love with their new land, and they remained there, and soon passed once more out of the history of men and of elves. While there was still a king, they were in name his subjects, but they were, in fact, ruled by their own chieftains and meddled not at all with events in the world outside. To the last battle at Fornost with the Witch Lord of Angmar they sent some bowmen to the aid of the king, or so they maintained, though no tales of men record it. The hobbits of the Shire, with whom these tales are concerned, in the days of their peace and prosperity they were a merry folk. They dressed in bright colours, being notably fond of yellow and green, but they seldom wore shoes, since their feet had tough leathery soles and were clad in a thick curling hair, much like the hair of their heads, which was commonly brown. Thus, the only craft little practised among them was shoe-making, but they had long and skilful fingers and could make many other useful and comely things. Their faces were as a rule good-natured rather than beautiful, broad, bright-eyed, red-cheeked, with mouths apt to laughter, and to eating and drinking. And laugh they did, and eat, and drink, often and heartily, being fond of simple jests at all times, and of 6 meals a day, when they could get them.